Good morning. It's nice to see everyone making their way in on this Friday morning. Please go ahead, as usual, and share a note with one another and with me, just so that we can not just feel our presence, but be in connection with one another on this beautiful Friday morning. So we make our way through the month of Elul and draw closer and closer to the new year, to a new time. Good morning to all. And I hope that you slept well and that there's good news in your life. Eleanor, good morning. And good morning to everyone. And so to Annette and to Deborah, to one and to all, Boker Tov. Welcome to Boker Tov from Temple Sinai. Temple Sinai Congregation of Toronto's daily opportunity to connect, to reflect, and to remember. Good morning, Fern Lance. Good morning to one and all as we gather together on this 20th day of September, on the 17th day of the month of Elul. Good morning, Sandra. And as we do, let us start with joining in the English translation of this prayer that expresses wonder at our ability each day to have another one, to function physically. Blessed eternal God, creator of the universe, you have fashioned our bodies with wisdom, creating within us a finely balanced network. To stand before you in prayer is itself a fragile miracle. Eternal God, we praise you as the healer of body and spirit. Please join me in the prayer for the soul. And each time there's a hey with a dot in it at the end of the word, you'll hear the breath and let the breath come out longer. That refers to the soul each time. In this particular prayer, not in general, of course, but in this particular prayer. And the soul, of course, is the divine breath in each of us. So let's hear that breath as we speak about the wonder that we are so much more than the sum of our physical parts. Eloi neshama shenatata bi torahi, atavrata, tayitzarta, tanafachta bi, vatamishamra bekirbi. Kol zman shahan shama bekirbi, modeh ani lefanecha. Adonai Eloi v'Eloi avotai, Ribon kol ha'ma'asim, Adon kol ha'neshamot. Baruch atah Adonai, asher beyado nefesh kol chai, v'ruach kol basar ish. The soul that you have given me, O God, is a pure one. You have created and formed it, breathed it into me, and within me you sustain it. So long as my soul is within me, I will give thanks to you, eternal my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. We praise you, eternal God, in whose hand is the power of all life and the spirit of all flesh. And now let's join together, Lasok b'divrei Torah, and these words of Torah. After the simple blessing, it continues with ha'arevna, which in this case, the root ayin resh vet can mean for something to be pleasant, or to be, in this case, translated as sweet. But of course, it also means a sense of cooperation and connection. So it's such a fitting word for this prayer because while Torah is beautiful and deep and offers meaning, at the same time, that sweetness is found when we share it together as our common possession. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Va'arev na Adonai Eloheinu et divrei Toratcha b'finu, ובפי עמך בית ישראל, ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו, וצאצאי עמך בית ישראל, כולנו יודעי שמך, ולומדי תורתך לשמה. ברוך אתה, אדוני, המלמד תורה לעמו, Yisrael. Elu dvarim shein lahem shi'ur. These are the obligations whose value cannot be measured. They nourish us in this world and help us to create the world to come. Kibud av va'em, to honor fathers and mothers. Ugmilut chasadim, to perform acts of love and kindness. Vashkamat bet midrash shacharit v'arvit, to attend the house of study morning and evening. Vachnasat ochim, to welcome the stranger. Uvikul cholim, to visit the sick. Vahachnasat kala, to provide for brides and grooms. Ulvayat hamet, to keep faith with the dead. Viyun tfilah, to pray with sincerity. Vahavaat shalom ben adam lachavero, to make peace when there is strife. The Talmud Torah keneged kulam, and the study of Torah is equal to them all. Let's join together in our Birchot HaShachar, in the morning blessings, or literally the blessings of the dawn. I'm sure each of us at some point has been awake at the moment when the light comes again for a new day. And each time we say these blessings, we think about the gift of that new day and what our responsibilities are on it, how we can make the use of each and every day so that the day is a little brighter, the sun dawns a little more intensely in the lives of those who need it the most. And so let's alternate full Hebrew and half Hebrew, half English, other than reciting the blessing about Matir Asurim, about freeing the captives, in both ways. And just reminds us not to accept what the world far too easily accepts. Please join me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sechvi vina lahavchen ben yom uven laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you have created me in the divine image. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani ben chorin. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you have made me a Jew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa li kol tzorki. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you open the eyes of the blind. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you clothe the naked. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim. And again, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you release those who are held captive. Now half-half. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you help those who are bowed to stand straight. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, roka haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you guide each person's steps. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you crown Israel with glory. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'ya'ef koach. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, you remove sleep from my eyes and weariness from my eyelids. It is interesting to remember the idea that what the word Yisrael means in these blessings, in the top two that are visible on the page, where it says you surround Israel with strength and you crown Israel with glory. That Israel, as in most places in the tefillah, in the prayer service, refer to the people of Israel. There's a value in Jewish life called Ahavat Yisrael, love of Israel, which does not mean love of the land or state of Israel, both of which are Jewish values, but rather means love of one's fellow member of the people of Israel. And that is what's referred to in these blessings here. But it's amazing, since we identify with that word earlier in the blessing, She'asani Yisrael, God has made us Yisrael, made us a Jew, that the word means so much in our tradition, and now means that place that gives us a hope of a safe haven even in the most difficult places and times. Well, now as we've made our way into the world again on this day, awakening spiritually as well as physically, we join together in Shema Yisrael. We join together in these words that say to us in your home and on your way, when you lie down and you rise up. Remember the unity that God represents and express it in a loving way, and do so in a way that helps you focus on that and not just follow after whatever we see, whatever we feel, but rather to be directed and guided by our beliefs and our values. In that spirit, let's join together in Shema Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed, Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, Bechol Levavecha, Uvechol Nafshecha, Uvechol Meudecha. Ve'ayu Advorim Ha'ele, Asher Anochi Metzavcha Hayom Al Levavecha. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, ויעשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם. ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בתיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו. וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני, ועשיתם אותם. ולא תטו אחרי לבבכם, ואחרי עיניכם, אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Well, as we gather together on this Friday morning, we take additional moments just to look at the outside world. So many different things to look at, but really have to pause for a moment and look at what seems to be the story of the week. And to put it, I think, in a bigger perspective and in a less dangerous perspective, more accurate perspective than so many of the different writings about it this week. Of course, that story where the world suddenly seems to have become, as was described in many media outlets, a James Bond movie, where Hezbollah, the terrorist army in Lebanon, that's what they are, a terrorist army funded by Iran to avoid detection of their people and their efforts by Israel with Israel's knowledge of cell phones. They have moved their communications to pagers and walkie-talkies. And on subsequent days this week, without taking or denying credit, Israel, so it would seem, detonated those pagers and then those walkie-talkies as an enormous blow to Hezbollah. Not only the powerful psychological blow, but taking a lot of their leaders out of action for a time being. A few people were killed, but many were wounded. And also, in doing so, making it simply harder for them to operate. And it's quite an unusual operation. And again, Israel lives in a part of the world where when there is a terrorist army, on two of your three borders, meaning the northern and the southern borders, taking the time to make it possible to have some sense of deterrence, to have them fear you, is a painful necessity. Um, but maybe more painful than that reality have been two different realities. One of them, the deeper one for me, is that while taking on Hezbollah in this way seems absolutely necessary, it's unclear what end there is to this current active state of war and the enormous toll that it takes on the people and the state of Israel, a war forced upon them by murderers and terrorists and people whose values focus on death and destruction. Um, so it's difficult because it is another step in this conflict and a necessary one. But in many ways, one thing I find at least as painful is the absurd responses in the media. I don't know why Israel did this or did this now. I have my own thoughts, but they have no firm basis that would give me reason to share them. I wish some people in the media had the same restraint. But there was an article in, God bless them because I won't and somebody has to. The CBC ran an article even today about people in Canada being afraid that their cell phones will explode because of this. And while I guess on some level, when people hear stories at a distance, they may be afraid in emotional ways, non-rational ways. It was somehow fell out of the CBC article that the devices that exploded were purchased by an internationally recognized terrorist organization and used by terrorists to encrypt their ability to communicate with one another. And while, of course, because you can't know exactly where so many devices are, it's not only the terrorists who were injured in this operation, that's primarily who it was. And not only that, why did this event happen? Why it happened? Because 100,000 Israelis have been unable to live in their homes, 100,000 or more, for what will soon be a year. And all of the suggestions that Israel is seeking a war, a wider war in the north, that is creating this conflict when it's said or implied, is simply a baseless lie. There is no country in the world that would accept where such a large part of its population were forcibly removed from their homes. There's much report in the media, as there should be, about the awful situation in Gaza, again created by the attack by Hamas, where almost everyone there is without a proper home. It's a terrible, terrible situation. Nevertheless, those who initiated this war continue to, day after day, attack and assault Israel from the south, from the north, and in doing so, continue to create an unhoused, a dispersed internal population in Israel that no state would accept. That, as well as the hostages and those ongoing attacks, are the reasons for this ongoing violence and the ongoing fear and the need even for such James Bond type maneuvers, if we want to call it that, in the area. Not the absurd suggestions of the news media, who acts as if this is in some bizarre way a war of choice or even retaliation or aggression by the state of Israel. It's not so. No one need fear their devices unless one is part of a larger recognized terrorist network. I think I'll see if I can find the time today to remind the CBC who was holding the pagers and the walkie-talkies. We know who it is that carries this fight every day. It is the young people and the not so young, those called back into reserve duty again and again in Israel. And so for them and for their future and for their families and for us, we turn to these words of prayer for the soldiers of the IDF. מי שבירך אבותינו אברהם יצחק ויעקב ואמותינו שרה רבקה לאה ורחל, הוא יברך את חיילי צבא ההגנה לישראל ושאר מגיני עמנו העומדים על משמרתם. ישמרם הקדוש ברוך הוא ויצילם מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה בכל מעשה ידיהם. ויקוים בהם הכתוב, וכיתתו אבותיהם לעתים, וחניתותיהם למזמרות, לא יישאו גוי אל גוי חרב, ולא ילמדון עוד מלחמה, וישבו איש תחת גפנו, ותחת תאנתו, ואין מחריד, ונאמר Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless the soldiers of the IDF and all who stand on guard for us. May the Holy One guard them against all difficulty and distress, injury and illness. May all of their actions bring blessing, fulfilling the prophet's words. Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Let nation not lift up sword against nation, and may they learn war no more. May all sit under a vine or fig tree, with none to make them afraid. And together we say, Amen. Let's turn now our prayers to those very much in need, those in our family or circle of friends who are ill or unwell or isolated or injured, those whose names have been given to me and given to Temple, placed in the chat in this and other services, as I see you doing now, and at least as much those forcibly isolated, painfully, cruelly, criminally held in captivity by terrorist Hamas and their allies. For all in need, we turn to these words of healing. מי שברך אבותינו אברהם, יצחק ויעקב ואמותינו שרה רבקה לאה ורחל, הוא ירפא את כל מכותינו. יהי רצון מלפניך אדוני אלוהינו להחלימם ולרפאותם, וישלח לנו מהרה רפואה שלמה, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, ועטרת שלום, ונאמר אמן. May the one who blessed our ancestors bless and heal all who suffer. May it be the divine will to provide healing and strength. Reveal to us the holiness of life, the wholeness of shalom, and let us say together, Amen. Well, it's very meaningful on these Friday mornings for me. I hope it is for you as well. It's very meaningful for us to have the opportunity to be together and connect and reflect and also remember. And so we pause now and recall those who died in the last 30 days. We send condolences to the families of Minky Lipson, Alan Gerskup, Joanna Sloan, Faye Kate, Anna Mae Silverman, and all those victims of war and terror, including terror victims Adrian Marcelo, Alex Lubnov, Almog Salusi, Alnon Zamora, Carmel Gat, Eden Yerushalmi, Gidon Perry, Hirsch Goldberg Poland, Liron Yitzchak, Ori Danino, Roni Shakuri, Yohanan Shchori, Yuri Birnbaum, and those who died in service in the IDF in the last 30 days. We remember Yochai Chai Glam, Agam Naim, Amit Bakri, Amit Friedman, Jerry Gidon Hanghal, Dotan Shimon, Shachar Ben Nun, Yotam Yitzchak Peled, Daniel Alush, Mordechai Yosef Ben Shoam, Ori Ashkenazi Nehemiah, Tom Ish Shalom, David Moshe Ben Shitrit, Daniel Mimon Toaf. And on yahrzeit, on the anniversary of their deaths, on this 17th day of the month of Elul, we remember Ann Berger, Nathan Chaffetz, Albert Geller, Rita Lefebvre, Alfred Schwartz. Zechronam Levacha, may their memories be a blessing to us. Our griefs and our sympathies are mingled as we turn together to words sanctified by memory words glorified. By hope, we join together in Kaddish Yatom. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברך תה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון ויומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב עמו, אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה ועמו, אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועמו, אמן. עושה שלום במומיו, הוא יעשה שלום, עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועמו, amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and bring comfort to all who are bereaved. And together let us say, amen. Well, in a moment, I'll conclude the service with the sounding the shofar. Thank you to Lance and Fern for putting the link to BYOB, Bring Your Own Bagel, our opportunity to connect with one another online in a more direct way after the service. So I encourage everybody to do that. Reminder that tonight's Shabbat Menucha service is on our TempleSinai.tv streaming platform rather than on Zoom. And so we look forward to you joining us tonight at 6:30 and tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Certainly join now in our Bring Your Own Bagel breakfast. But first, let's conclude this service as Elul continues with the sound of the shofar. Tekiah. Boker Tov. Boker Ol. Thank you, Joni. I can always count on you. Make it a good one.